Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So for this episode, I didn't have a guest lined up for this weekend, and I thought, well, it's my birthday next month and I'm 21 years old right now, and I thought maybe I'd do an episode on the 21 most valuable lessons in 21 years that I've learned from other people, from books I've read, and even some stuff that I've come to learn myself. So the first lesson I've learned is to be a rabbit, not an alligator. The meaning behind this is that rabbits have really small mouths and really large ears, and they listen a lot and never speak, whereas an alligator has a massive mouth but tiny ears. Everyone has something really interesting to say. Everyone has a different perspective and some really valuable insights that you'd never actually get to hear unless you take the time to listen to them. And it's the only way to learn. It's the only way to know more and gain more information. And a lot of the time it's really valuable information. Some people have some really valuable insights to share that you'd never know unless you went and actually listened to them instead of you talking a lot yourself. So really listen to what people have to say and not talk all the time so much yourself. I know it's ironic because I'm doing a podcast right now, but I heard someone say this once to me when we had some friends and family over once, and it really resonated with me. And I've really made an effort after that to try and listen more to people and talk less when I'm meeting people for the first time or catching up with someone. And I've really found it very valuable and something that's really helped me understand a lot more about other people's perspectives and the way the world works. Lesson number 2, you'd rather become good tomorrow than be good today. And this exact reason is why you are where you are right now. So this concept of constantly wanting to be better tomorrow instead of today and always putting things off to the next day, and that's why you are exactly where you are right now, is really true. And I've been able to relate this a lot to my own life lately. Is it shows the difference between procrastination and not procrastinating and achieving what you want to achieve and the actual action of doing the work. So lately, a lot in my life, I've been thinking about this exact phrase. And whenever I'm thinking about doing stuff or planning things, I realize that I've kind of become serial at doing this myself and always promising myself, oh, I've got a lot more time tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And it's really important to take a step back and realize that the reason why you haven't done something and the reason why you are where you are right now is because you're not willing to do the work right now. You're willing to put it off and do it at a different time. And that's what separates the people from people who succeed and do stuff they want to get done and people that don't, is the people that want to get stuff done will do it and make the time for it straight away and won't procrastinate it. Whereas the people who might necessarily like the idea of something but won't work actively towards it and will keep putting it off and keep putting it to the next day are the people that won't ever really succeed what they want to achieve because they're constantly putting it off and would rather do it later than do it now. So I think that's a really important lesson that I've learned, is when you want to do something, you need to do it now and you need to become good now instead of rather doing it the next day and doing all the right things. You have to start now. Lesson number 3, time is the most valuable currency, so therefore make the most of it while you can. Time goes so much quicker than you think. And I'm always hearing other people talk about this, older people talk about this. And at 21 years old, I already feel this to a certain extent. My teenage years have just finished and they're fresh behind me in the memory, but they feel like they've gone by so fast. And all people say is that as you get older, this concept of time seems to speed up and seems to go quicker and quicker. And even though I can't understand it to a certain extent because I'm only 21 years old, it's made me realize that this feeling's only going to grow. I've realized that the number one advantage in my life right now is time. So it's crucial for me not to waste it. You ask people who have achieved everything that they've wanted to achieve, and you ask them what's the one thing they wanted more of. And a lot of the time they say it's time. They wish they could have some time back. They're always willing to sacrifice everything that they've ever done, all the success they've made, in order to do it again and have the time again. So it's inevitable that at some point I am or other people will all look back and wish they had more of this time. So knowing this, why would you regret how you spend that time? Why not instead make the most of the time that you have? And I think that's really important. And a lot of people kind of lose scope of the bigger picture there. And I'm starting to learn more and more that you really have to be conscious of how you spend your time and spend your time the best way possible. Because if you don't, you're just going to look back and regret. Lesson number 4. Happiness has to come from within. Happiness in your life, it can't come from other people because then you really don't have control over your own happiness. Your happiness has to come from within. It has to come from things that make you feel like you are genuinely fulfilled and happy with what you are doing, and that what you're doing is worthwhile and that you have a sense of worth. You can't let your happiness be dictated by other people's actions and who you spend your time with. Yes, it's great to spend time with good people and people that have your best interest in heart and people that you enjoy spending your time with, but you can't let whether those people are in a good mood or whether you're hanging out with them dictate whether you're happy or not, because then you have no control over your happiness. And it's really important to be able to control that level of happiness in your life and to be happy. And this means that when you're pursuing happiness, your time has to be spent doing things that are worthwhile. You can't gain a true sense of achievement without actually doing things that require hard work. You can't gain true happiness from doing things that are distractions. Be in charge of your own emotions and feelings, and you can't let other people have that control over you. Lesson number 5. The only thing guaranteed in life is if you do nothing, nothing will happen. This can really be used to your advantage. People either use this logic as fuel to drive their life in a positive direction, knowing that if they do nothing, they're never going to achieve what they want to achieve. It's really important to use that as a drive to go and do things, to go and experience things, to go and try things and take that risk. But a lot of people see this fear and they actually hide away from this fear and they try to distract themselves from it their whole lives and end up living a life of emptiness and regret, because there's always going to be a next party and next distraction. But you're only ever going to have one life and your dreams aren't going to actually last forever. So why not make the most of things and go and do things that are going to give you a fulfilling life? You shouldn't let anything hold you back from pursuing the things that you want to pursue. A paradigm shift that I've kind of undertaken as I've gotten older, I'm starting to realize that there really are no limits to what you can do in your life. The only limit is the beliefs you put on yourself, because everyone that's anyone all started somewhere. They've all gone through it and they all knew that they could build the life that they wanted to build, and they didn't put those limits on themselves. You hear people who have those negative beliefs and say, oh, it's impossible to do this or it's impossible to do that. Nothing really is impossible in this world. And the proof is the people that do achieve what they want to achieve. So why not strive to be like them? Because there's only one way to find out, and doing nothing is just guaranteed failure. So use that as fuel to go and do what you want to do. Lesson number 6, take the time to do things the right way. If you're going to do something, make sure it's done right. If you don't like how you've done something, do it again. Practice makes perfect, and there's no harm in getting better. I learned this from someone when I was having a conversation about what's the best way to go and start a business or achieve what you want to achieve. And they told me to start straight away with practicing what the highest quality of standard of work you want to be doing is. And the reasoning behind this is there's a lot of harm in rushing things and building things on shaky foundations, because like a house of cards, it's just going to collapse as quickly as it's set up. But when you set out to do something, if you set out to do it to the highest standard and you do it to the level that you want to be doing it at, it means that you're taking time to build things the right way. And this will not only increase the chances of success, but it will also increase the chances of maintained success. I mean, you look at the example of Lotto. You look at a lot of people that have won Lotto that were poor before Lotto or didn't have a lot of money before Lotto. And in 10 years' time, they're exactly back to where they began. You can't be banking to win Lotto and be planning on how you're going to be financially responsible once you win Lotto. You need to be financially responsible now. You need to set off to build your life on the right foundations and take time to do things the right way now. Because if you're not starting with the end in mind, then are you really starting? Are you really working towards what you want to achieve? You need to be able to look back at all the stuff you're doing and make sure that it's to the standard of where you want to be and it's moving you in the direction of where you want to be. Because if you're not doing that, then are you really even making progress towards your goals? Lesson number 6 I've learned. Everyone has great ideas for how people should live their lives, except for their own. So this is paraphrased from the book The Alchemist, which I've read by Paulo Coelho, or however you pronounce his name. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but stop worrying about how other people say you should live your life or what they say you should do. Especially nowadays with social media, a lot of people are commenting on other people's lives and telling everyone how to live their life. But why would you give someone that you'll never know will never actually have an impact or an interaction in your life, control over your life, and listen to what they're saying you should do. Everyone does, and it's really true, and it really struck with me when I read this, is everyone's always giving their opinions about other people and exactly what they should be doing and how they should be living their lives. And when you really look at it, none of these people have their own life sorted. So why would you take advice from someone that can't even sort their own life, that's now trying to give you great advice? You need to be able to pursue what you want to pursue and not let all that noise crowd you. You can't let people that have no influence or control actually in your life start to have that influence and control. You're just relinquishing the power of your life to other people, and you're leaving your life to be decided by other people. And it's really important to understand that your life is yours and you need to decide what's best for you and do what's best and what makes you happy. I used to live my life the other way, expecting, like, doing what other people wanted me to do and doing what people thought was best for me. But I've realized that it's a lot more fulfilling when you're doing things you want to do, even if you're doing the wrong thing and making mistakes. That's where the growth happens. As long as you're learning from those mistakes, your life is going to move in a positive direction. So stop listening to all the noise and what other people say you should be doing, and do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy, what you define as success or achievement. Go and pursue that. Don't listen to what all the other people say about what you should be doing with your life. You need to decide what you want to do yourself. Lesson number 8, focus on what you can control, not what you can't. So I've learned this lesson from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Basically, there's no point stressing about things you can't even control, because then you're giving the power over your emotions to something or someone else that's not you. There's no point trying to focus on things you have no control over. It's a complete waste of your time, and that time can be spent on things that you actually can control, the things that actually will have an effect in your life. If you're going to worry about all these things you can't control your whole life, then you're never actually going to do anything to decide your own life. You need to be able to look at your life from a bigger picture and be able to look in and see what are the things you can actually do to make a positive impact on your own life, and what are the things you can control to make your life better, and stop worrying about all these things that you can't actually control, because there's no point. It's just going to make your life worse. The only way to make your life better is to do things that you can control and make your life better, because everyone gets dealt a different deck of hands. Everyone in life, some people have it a lot worse than others. Some people have it a lot weller off than others just from the get-go. But that's quite literally life. And you have to realize that there's no point worrying about all that stuff. Instead, you have to be able to focus in on all the things that you can have an influence over and all the things you can change about your life, and just go 100% into that and stop thinking about all these other things. Lesson number 9. The feeling of loneliness is inevitable, and that's perfectly okay. So I was thinking about this, and you can have all the people in the world around you. You can have all the greatest friends, the best family, a great relationship, a massive support circle. But at the end of the day, you're you and no one else is you. And everyone to some degree is going to experience a sense of loneliness, and it is inevitable in life. But what people don't realize is this doesn't necessarily have to be a negative experience, but it can actually be a quite positive experience. And it's really important not to hide away from this and distract yourself from this loneliness, because it's a slippery slope. And when people just try and distract themselves from this loneliness, it's only going to make the void of loneliness feel more barren. It's only going to make you feel more lonely. Instead, you need to feel this loneliness by looking inwards and not outwards. You need to work on yourself and do things that give you a sense of worth, a sense of meaning, do things that make you happy. And doing these things for yourself and for no one else, because it is your life. And if you just distract yourself and go to the next thing and always just looking away from the problems of your life, well, then you're never going to actually solve your life or have a good life. You need to be able to, as I said before, look inwards and really do things that are worthwhile, do things that are meaningful. And those are the best ways to fill the void of loneliness, because loneliness doesn't have to be a negative experience. It's good to work on yourself. It's good to build yourself into the person that you want to be, and to do things that are worthwhile and do things that take a lot of time and effort and a lot of practice, because then when you achieve what you want to achieve, it's so much more rewarding. And that's not to say not to have other people in your life and not to have a great support circle or great support of friends, but it's to say that you should be perfectly comfortable and okay with yourself and who you are and working on yourself. And that's only going to come from working on yourself, not distracting yourself from the fact that you are alone. I know it sounds a bit grim, but it's a paradigm shift that I've adopted recently where I've actually realized it's okay to be doing what I'm doing, and it's okay to be on my own path and to be doing what I think is right for me. And it really makes you a lot happier and a lot more content as long as you're spending that time doing things that are worthwhile to you and mean a lot to you. And you're not just distracting yourself with quick fixes and easy things that have no delayed gratification. So it's really important to be able to look inwards and not outwards to fill that loneliness. Lesson number 10 I've learned. The only way to do something is to quite literally do it. And I know this one kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many people actually don't adhere to it. I mean, you can plan something to the moon, but nothing actually compares to doing the work. And this is one of the most relatable lessons I've learned in here, because a lot of the time I'm always planning things, planning exactly how I'm going to do them, planning when I'm going to do them, and exactly what I'm going to do. But I've realized that none of that is actually doing it. And a lot of the time it's a form of procrastination in itself, because you're constantly planning and you're constantly deciding how you're going to do things, and then things change and then you replan and you're constantly just replanning and you're never actually going and doing the work. And that doesn't mean go in blindlessly and work super hard but not smart at all and just make a muck of things. But it means decide what you're going to do. Don't take too much time deciding what you're going to do, and really go all in, really just begin and do the work. And I've listened to Chris Williamson talk about this on Modern Wisdom, and the way he explains it is there quite literally is nothing that compares to doing the work than doing the work itself. Everything else isn't doing the work. The only thing that is doing the work is doing the work. And it kind of sounds stupid when you say it, but it really is true. And a lot of the time people really lose scope of that and forget that when they are planning to do something or wanting to do something, but they never actually go and do it. So the lesson I've learned is if you want to do something, just do it, just begin, just start. And I guess a good example of that is this podcast, because for 8 months I planned to do this with Johnny, and for 8 months we sat around and talked about it. We went on holidays. We really wanted to do it. And then when the time came to actually doing it, I'd say we probably took an extra 4 months to start from when we actually intended on starting. And that's because we just kept planning on exactly how we're going to do it and if we were going to do it and when we were going to do it. But I literally hit a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go buy the equipment and learn how it's set up and set this date, and we're going to start recording from this date. And this experience of buying the equipment, learning how to edit, setting up the studio, the actual process of doing all of that, I learned so much more than any planning would have done. And I learned things that no planning would have taught me. So it's really important to understand that although planning is important, what's more important is actually doing the work, because you're going to learn more from doing it, and you're going to figure out more things, and your plan's going to change, and what you're doing is going to slowly evolve and grow, and you're going to learn about all these other things. But that all comes from beginning. It doesn't come from planning. And once you understand that and make that switch, it's really eye-opening, and it changes a lot for how much you're actually going to get done and what you want to achieve. Lesson 11, make a conscious effort to be genuinely happy. The best way I can describe this one is the Superfund ads comparison for people's lives. So you see the Superfund ads and they go, this person, same age, same income, same household. And this person made the switch then, and this is how much better off they are than this other person. And I think it's the same with happiness, because if you look at two people who go through their life and they have the exact same life, one person's constantly negative. They're always thinking the worst case scenario. They're always stressing about everything. They're always upset and angry with people. And you look at the other person who has the exact same life and they're always happy, they're always forgiving, they're always letting go of things that don't really matter, and they're always making an effort to genuinely enjoy their time. If you look at them, those two people, when they're on their deathbeds, the person that has been genuinely happy is going to look back at their life with a lot less regret, whereas the person who's constantly negative and constantly upset and worrying and stressing about things is going to look back on their life with a lot of regret. And that's the best way I can describe it. But just being genuinely happy and genuinely being a good person, it makes you feel better. And I'll admit I haven't always been this way. I've a lot of the time been very standoffish with people, and I'm trying to make a conscious effort towards being really nice to people and being genuinely nice to people. And when you're nice to someone and you go out of your way to be nice to someone, it's only ever going to be a positive experience because it's only going to be replicated back, and you're going to get a lot more out of other people and out of life when you're constantly having these positive experiences, and it might unlock and open doorways to things or places that you never thought you'd go. So it's really important to make a conscious effort to be genuinely happy and be genuinely a good person and do the right things, because the only thing that's guaranteed in this is if you're not, and if you're not nice, or if you're a dick and you're upset all the time, everything's going to be negative. It's only going to build bad relationships and hurt things and hurt yourself. But if you are good and you're nice to everyone, it's going to bring good relationships and good experiences and just elevate your life to another level that's just more enjoyable and better for you. Lesson number 12. The only way to get to the future is by going through right now. So when I think about this, I think about how a lot of people are always worrying about or fantasizing, dreaming, lusting for the future and what the future beholds and what they want their life to be like in the future. And when people do this, they're forgetting about the most important way to get to the future, which is right now. And they're forgetting that only right now and the actions taken right now are going to be the things that bring the future. And it's almost like they're saying that life is not coming at you, it's coming from you. So instead of worrying about what's to come at you, worry about what's coming from you and what you're doing to bring the life that you want to have. And that doesn't mean don't have goals, don't have vision, but it means stop worrying about it so much and actually focus on what you're doing right now in this very moment to achieve what you want to be achieving. And focus on that. Don't focus on all this other crap in the future, all this other noise, because then you're never going to get there. If all you're doing is worrying about the future, then you're never going to get that future. If what you're doing is focusing on right now and what you're doing right now to achieve what you want to achieve, that's how you're going to get the future you want to get. Lesson 13. Surround yourself with good people who genuinely want to see you do well. As I've gotten older, I've started to realize that the people that you hang out with, the people that you spend your time with, you have complete control over that. You should be picking and choosing the people in your life that are going to genuinely be there for you and that you can genuinely be there for. And those are the best relationships that you can have. And that it's really important for your friends to really want to see you do well and for you to want them to do well. And you want to have a group of people around you that really bring you up with them and you really bring them up with you. You should be able to pick the people that you want to be in your life. You should be able to pick the friends that you hang out with. And if there's someone that doesn't have your best interests at heart or doesn't treat you the way that you think you should be treated as a friend or how you would treat them back as a friend, well, then you don't actually have to be friends with those people. You can choose who you want to surround yourself with and who you want to be your friends. And not only is it really freeing, but there's a lot of benefit from this. And those benefits are only going to come when you are selective about picking good people and you treat others how you want to be treated and they treat you back in that way. Lesson number 14, you have 100% control of your life. No one else is going to create the life you want for yourself. Only you can create it. And this is something that I've learned as I've gotten older is more and more that no one's going to come and save you. No one's going to come and be your fairy godmother and give you the exact life you want to have. Your happiness and fulfillment in life is going to come from you. It's going to be you that does it because you're the one that's living it. I mean, for me, for example, I'd be a lot nicer to a lot more people. I'd be a lot more genuine and I'd make less enemies and work a lot harder on the things that I wanted to do. So you think about that, you reflect on if you could have your time over again, what are the things that you would want to do? And then you look at right now. Why wouldn't you do that stuff right now? Why wouldn't you be working towards all of those things right now? Because if you wish you could have done it in the future, there's nothing stopping you from doing it all right now. And it's really freeing to learn that, and it's really freeing to have that perspective that you really do have 100% control over your own life, because it is no one else's life, it is your life. So it's really important to really look at your life and look at the things you're doing and realize you can have whatever life you want to have, but it's you that's got to go and do it because you're the one that has the control over it. And do the things that you want to do. Don't have excuses for it. Don't look back and think, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I did this then. Do all of that stuff now, because you can't change the past, but you can change what you're doing right now, and you can make a positive impact on your life's future by doing what you need to do right now. And so why not do the things you want to do? Why not be the person you want to be in this very moment? Lesson 15. There's a difference between wanting something and liking the idea of something. I've seen quite a few people talk about this concept of that when people want something, they're going to do the actions to go and actually do it. Whereas people that like something aren't necessarily going to do that. So the most basic example of that is someone that goes, I want to be really rich or have a great life when I'm older. But then they proceed to then spend all their spare time on their phone, scrolling on social media and not taking any actual positive change or actions towards those goals. And the people that achieve what they want to achieve wanted to achieve those things. They didn't like the idea and think, it'd be nice to have those things. They wanted them, and they actively made the change in their life to go and get them. And for me, especially seeing as I'm 21, I've got a lot of time ahead of me and a lot of things I want to achieve ahead of me. Instead of just thinking, I'd really like to have this in the future, actually looking at my life right now and looking at what I can be doing right now to go and get those things and to be able to have those things in the future. And as I was talking about with one of the rules earlier, nothing's guaranteed. The only thing that's guaranteed is for it not to happen if you do nothing. Want to do things, don't like the idea of them, actually go and do them, actually want to do them. Lesson 16, be the best possible version of yourself. So you see a lot of people talk about this, and it's really important to understand that whatever it is that you define as successful, whatever it is you want to achieve, whether it's a really great family or a really successful career, or even be an athlete or a musician, to give yourself the highest chance of success and doing those things, you need to be the best possible version of yourself, and you need to do everything required to do that. You can't just half-ass things. You really have to take the time, take the effort, and take the change to be the best possible version of yourself to allow for the best outcomes and the best future. Lesson 17, the luck happens after you bust your ass. Luck doesn't just happen. You put yourself in the situation where luck might just happen. Lesson 17 is a quote from David Goggins, and I know a lot of people like him and some don't like him, but like him or not, this quote or this lesson per se is, I find, really valuable, as a really valuable insight. And it is that, so a lot of people see people that are successful and they go, they must have been lucky, or they were better off than me to begin with. They had a better upbringing, or they had this better situation. But you're not just going to win the lotto. Like, you're not just going to achieve everything you want to achieve by luck. You need to be able to work your ass off to put yourself in a situation where you might just get lucky, and you might not. But if every single day you're working your ass off, you're doing all the things you need to do every single day and doing all the actions that are required of you to achieve what you want to achieve, inevitably one day you're going to get there and you're going to get lucky. And I know the great man Han Solo in Star Wars says it, but you really do make your own luck. You really do put yourself in the situation to be able to reap the rewards of your hard work. So people need to understand, and it's a lesson that I am learning, is that luck doesn't just happen. You really have to work hard to put yourself in the situation to get where you want to go, which is the luck. Lesson 18, you'll never see a hater doing better than you. Tall poppy syndrome is real. And what you'll come to realize is that you shouldn't be worried about people hating on you for trying, because the people that are going to hate on you for you trying are going to be the people that can't even try themselves, and they just want to bring you down with them. And there's a lot of people that judge other people and are constantly bringing others down, but rarely do you see someone who's in a better situation than you, that's achieved what you want to achieve or more, hating on you for trying to achieve something similar to them. So it's really important to understand that people that are hating on you or are trying to bring you down have a lot of their own stuff going on, and a lot of the time it's internalized and they're projecting it onto you because they're so discontent with themselves. And you need to do what you need to do and not focus on all these other people that are trying to bring you down. And you need to be positive. And whenever you see other people that are working really hard or trying to make something for themselves, to be nice to them as well. For example, with this podcast, everyone that I've spoken to in person that I've had an interaction with has been really positive about this podcast. They've said they like the podcast or like what I'm doing, or they've said congratulations or well done, which is awesome. And yet you still hear rumors or people talking ill on it, or talking, oh, why'd you have this guest on, or why are you doing that? Like, isn't that weird? But the people you meet and the people that are your friends and the people that you actually have interactions with in person are all positive. So why would you worry about all these rumors going on behind the scenes that actually have no impact on what you're really doing? So just keep in perspective that if you're trying and you're pursuing your dreams or going after something or putting yourself out there, ignore all the people that are going to try to bring you down and hate on you, because a lot of the time they have nothing going on themselves or nothing better to do. Because if they did, then they would be busy with that thing instead of hating on you. Lesson 19, the best things in life aren't easy. And this is a pretty cliche, basic one, but be happy doing things that are hard. You won't be happy being a bum. And I guess the most classic example is a Ferrari. A Ferrari wouldn't be a Ferrari if everyone had a Ferrari. It wouldn't be worth something. The reason why it has the connotations of being cool to have a Ferrari is because it's so hard to attain. It's so expensive. When it comes to life and when it comes to doing things that you want to do, it's not going to be easy. And realizing this as soon as possible and not kind of sugarcoating it, thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and it's going to happen in a blink of an eye. Success isn't built overnight. Success comes from hard work. If it was easy, then everyone would do it. The reason why it's hard and the reason why it's so valued and the reason why you want something is because it's unique. It's not saturated. It's something that's not attainable to everyone, which makes it worth doing. So don't be afraid and don't fret away from things that are really, really hard and look like they're really, really unattainable, because they actually are. It's just the hard work that is the differentiating factor of whether you achieve what you want to achieve or not sometimes. And it's really important to understand that it's okay that something's not easy and it's okay that something's hard, and just get after it, go and do it. Lesson 20. Discipline is the strongest form of self-love. Do you really care about yourself if you're unable to show and have the work ethic and hard work towards building the life you want to build? Discipline is the commitment to your dreams. It means that if you want to go and do something, or if you want to have a certain life or you have a dream, doing the work now, even though the reward is not necessarily there, but is further down the track, that's how you build the future you want to build. And that's how you show some respect to yourself and show some self-love to yourself. It really is important to have the trait of discipline and a work ethic in today's society, and to really work hard to what you want to achieve. And it really is the commitment to your dreams, and it shows how hard you're willing to work and how much you want something, even if that something's not a quick, easy fix reward right now. So it's really important to show some discipline and have some work ethic in your life to be able to move your life in a positive direction to where you want it to get. Lesson 21, have self-respect. I think that's a really good last lesson to end on, and really important thing to acknowledge is that you need to be able to respect your own life and have some self-respect for yourself, whether that is through lesson 20 of discipline or through all of these lessons before. Having self-respect is a really, really important thing to have, because if you can't even respect yourself, then what are you doing? If you're living your life for other people and doing these things for other people at the cost of your own dignity or self-respect, that can't be fulfilling. That's not a good feeling to have. That's not good for you. You need to be able to look at yourself, look at your own life, and be good to yourself. Because if you can't even be good to yourself, then are you really ever going to be happy? Are you really ever going to have a good life if you can't even show yourself the respect that you deserve? So really take a step back and really look at your life and look at areas of your life where maybe, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with other people, maybe you're doing things that you don't like about yourself, or maybe you've got certain vices or addictions or things that you know are really bad for you and you really want to quit, but you don't. Well, you need to be able to have the self-respect to look after yourself and do the right things for yourself, whether that means looking after yourself physically with exercise, diet, sleep, or it means not doing degenerate behaviors or activities. It's really important to be able to have that self-love, and it really does tie in with lesson 20, but it should be its lesson on its lesson on its own, because once again, it is such an important thing to have. And I've learned that the more self-respect you show yourself, the more freeing and fulfilling and worthwhile your life feels. And it's really important. So there you go. There's 21 lessons that I've learned in 21 years of living. And it was my second time recording this one. I recorded it yesterday and looked back at it and thought I could do it better, which is why I've come back in to record it today. And it's just been me today. Johnny's still away and Robbie got tied up with work, which is why I'm in Robbie's chair today. It's a bit of a change of scenery. And if you've been listening this far, I really appreciate it and just want to say thank you for listening. And it's a bit daunting, doing a pod by myself and talking by myself for this long. But I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting shown and all the people that have been watching this and liking the videos. And if you do enjoy this content and you do enjoy this podcast, please leave a comment or a like or whatever down under the post and make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching. See you next week.